Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Dracaena Wines on Wine. And in these series, basically what we do is we are talking to people however they are intertwined in the wine industry. And we see basically what they are all about and how they pursuing their passion in the wine industry or sometimes in the outskirts of the wine industry. And it's all about kind of a one-on-one get to know somebody that is in love with wine, and that's what we are all about. So today, my guest is Leah, and I am going to attempt it, but my American is probably going to destroy it. Tirard-Hersant?
Oui, bonjour, hi, Leah Tirard-Hersant. Yeah, you pronounced it right.
Oh, okay, not too bad, not too bad. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
So, as I told you, I practiced French a lot before I went to France last year, and I thought I had a basic understanding of it, and I got there, and I walked up to the passport, the stamper guy, and it went out of my head. I had no idea. But he just started speaking in English. He didn't even expect me to understand French. So I get the one every 5 words concept, But today, before we even get started, I have to first give a huge shout out to Elizabeth Bruckner, who is responsible for introducing me to you. Her and her husband listened to the podcast, and she wrote into me and suggested I reach out to you for a podcast interview. And she was an amazing in-between person, introduced us to each other. So thank you, Elizabeth. And
hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
So how do you know Elizabeth?
So Elizabeth and we know each other through French as well. Through our common community of language learners, because she's a dedicated language learner, and she had some French lessons with me, and she learned with the Staircase website. And one of the courses on the website is based on the wine industry. So she seems like she made the connection between your podcast and the Staircase. And here we are.
And here we are. It took a little bit of back and forth. I think we started this process about a month ago, but here we are. So let's first start talking about you as a person a little bit, all right? It looks like you started teaching back in 2013, and you've taught over 5,000 hours of French to students in over 51 countries on this Staircase platform. So that's insane. To me, 5,000 hours, I can't even, conceive how much that is, and to so many different countries. So how do people find you? Let's start with that. How do people find you?
So you are right, Lori. This is a lot. And I was lucky to be one of the first teachers of my generation surfing on the digital wave of private tutoring, of language tutoring online. And I started when I was a student. I was in my early 20s, and at that time, I just enjoyed teaching French, and it seemed like it reciprocated with my students, because it quickly became successful, and so yeah, so that's
6 years later, still going strong.
Yes, and 6 years later, as you may know, I'm also a linguist by education. So on the birthday of my 5,000th lesson, we decided that it was time to share that experience in the form of a method. So I combined most of my experiences and feedbacks from students. And we assembled, because there was me, but also a small team of people working with me, we assembled a new website and method based on a step-by-step, more intuitive grammar assimilation with some fun stories that the courses are based on. And the staircase was born. And yes, I continue teaching to my dear students every week, and it's just part of a daily routine, and it's a joy every day.
That's awesome. And again, they can find you at thestaircase.org. So we'll get that right up there first. And you're also on Instagram. What's your handle on Instagram?
Yes, correct. So as you said, students, they can find me and other teachers on thestaircase.org. So most students, they have like one lesson every week.
Okay.
It's a routine-based. The students enjoy that routine, but also they can have just one lesson or two, see. And Instagram, yes, students can also find us on Instagram.
Also at the staircase?
Yes, at French.staircase. Thanks for your patience with my English.
Well, people have to have patience with us when we go to when we go to another country, so it's kind of reciprocal there. It doesn't always translate as fast in your brain it translates faster in your brain than it does come out of your mouth, right?
Yeah, that's normal. That's how it is for everybody.
Right. Okay, so you were born and raised in France, in the Anjou area, which is basically for those who don't know, it's like the lower portion of the Loire River.
Exactly. So if you go to Paris, and then you drive 2 hours to the south, and you will go through the Loire Valley. You may have heard of the Loire Valley for castles and also vineyards. The Loire Valley is une région viticole, as we say in French, like a wine region of its own in France. And I'm familiar with the wines from my region, as you know. So it's something that we have in common.
Yeah. So as a kid, growing up in this beautiful, amazing wine region, I guess this is kind of a stupid question, but did you do normal kid things, or you're in the middle of a beautiful vineyard area. What were some of the things you did growing up?
So how is wine or vineyard, how are they intertwined just in daily life? So my grandmother used to have a vineyard all her life. So that was just part going during the weekend in the region of Saumur. Also through the seasons, the harvest times in September, October, meeting with the winemakers who they have their own different values, winemaking processes. In the French Loire Valley, we have some of pioneers of the organic and natural wines movement. For instance, Catherine and Pierre Breton, who you may have heard of them. So they were one of the pioneers. They make just fantastic wine. Just recently, I was in Montreal last June, and I found Pierre and Catherine's wines there. It was such a pleasure to see them, to see that their success goes so far. And this organic wine production is growing more and more in the Loire Valley.
Right. And so, were you working the farm? Was that your vacation, going to grandma's vineyard on summer vacation and having to work the vineyard?
Yeah, so hiking. So personally, I wasn't really involved into working in it, but more just having picnic in the vine, or as I said previously, helping with selling the wine sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And tasting and wine tasting when I was older. Also, in France, it's common to introduce just youngsters and children to wine. Very tiny quantities, like just a little sip. But yeah, it's common to introduce children at an early age. For tasting, for appreciating the flavor. And do you do that too? Is that common as well?
I don't know. I know that like in France and Italy, it's, you know, when they sit down for dinner, even at a young age, they get that taste so that they can learn to appreciate what they're around and what the wine is about. It's so much a big part of their culture. Here in America, I don't know how much that actually occurs. I think children who grew up with parents who own vineyards and wineries, I'm sure that's involved in their culture a little bit. But I don't think it's the same as in Europe and stuff. It's a different.
And most children don't like the taste of wine because it tastes very bitter when you're a child. So it's really just a little sip.
Well, maybe that's the trick, you know, if we had our children drinking at a younger age or tasting at a younger age, they won't go binge drinking when they're, you know, 18, 17 years old. You know, you're gaining an appreciation of it at a young age, and you learn how to appreciate it respect it.
You're right, Laurie, because we just getting used to it at a younger age. It becomes something more common. So it's all well balanced, I would say.
It's not such a big deal when you know, step away from mom and dad so much.
Exactly.
Right. So your grandmother, how much wine did she like produce? Did she sell? You were saying that you helped sell, so she actually sold the wine or sold wine?
So that was a part of her life when I was very young, and I don't remember because she's now retired. Et donc, I have an anecdote about it. Well, so she kept some vintage from the time when she would do the winemaking, and so in the cave, the cellar. It's like a cave because it's in the Loire Valley. There's a part, especially in Saumur, called les troglodytes. Donc, les troglodytes are caves or cellars that dug into the stone. It's limestone. You know, so it's dug into limestone. So in that troglodyte cellar that she has kept a vintage of years 90 and 8 English numbers, 89 and 90, which were very good years, and she would just give them around for family.
That's
precious
awesome.
wines.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I wish that we had some history like that. We're the first winemakers in our family. You know, we're the first winemakers in our family. So nobody was giving us wine from when they were producing wine.
Well, that's even better. You got to. That was a real adventure.
Yes, it is. It is, and we do.
It still is now.
Yeah, we do love it. Good stuff. All right, so when I interview people, I have to do a little snooping around on the internet and see, what's going on. And according to your LinkedIn profile, you actually graduated with a bachelor's degree in English literature.
That's correct. I really enjoyed the Scarlet Letter.
So, oh my God, that's one of my favorites. That is one of my favorites.
The letter A on the leather cover.
My husband hates it. He's like, how can you read that over and over again, or how can you watch that movie? I'm like, oh my God, it's such a good book. So what made you go? Like, you're in France. Like, take us through your processing of where you thought you were going to go with this studying, American literature.
So you're asking about my education background.
Right. So you chose to study English literature while you were growing up and living in France. So like, what was your career goal when you said, I'm going to go English literature?
So my career goal, I always wanted to work in language education. So as far as I was a teenager, and starting when I was 10, 11, I learned English, mostly chatting on the internet. So at that time, that was the years 2000, so it wasn't that common at that time. But that's how I got to learn just more typing more fluently. So this, and also I learned English, some Spanish with pen pals. So handwriting.
Oh wow!
Yes, handwriting with pen pals from Spain, from Canada, and I mostly learn languages like that. So Spanish, English through pen paling. Also, I worked some time in Switzerland where I learned some German basics. Also being around Chinese people to learn some Chinese sentences. So I always wanted to communicate these different forms of language learning and work in language education. So the path was a bachelor, which I chose to be in English literature. So it was British English literature mostly, and then a master's in linguistics and science education. In French, we call it pédagogie, la pédagogie des langues, the science of language teaching. And then I started working as a French teacher online by Skype, and used my linguistic education and experience to then build learning materials, and then the staircase. And that's how step by step it leads to a career. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. So as a young person, you knew you wanted to be in the language, sharing language with people, and that's awesome because not too many people go to school and start something. They have a path of what they're going to want to be, and then loads of people aren't in that field. So that's awesome. All right, so let's bring it back to wine. So I would love to visit your area of France. I was in Paris, I was in Bordeaux, but I've never been to the Loire Valley, the Chenin, and our passion is Cabernet Franc. So that's like the mothership calling me to go home. What are your favorite wines from the region? Favorite winery? You had mentioned the one in Montreal, but if somebody was going to that region, what would you say is a must-do, must-visit type of vacation?
So in the Loire Valley, so some whites, Chinon, Sancerre, the wines by Catherine and Pierre Breton. They're classics. Every year they have different vintage that they that come out. Voilà, c'est une référence. Et aussi, so visiting the Loire Valley, you can go to Saumur, so you can go by train or by car, and then from Saumur, go up the Loire River to the village of Fontevraud, and there's a wine route. So you can follow that wine route and then stop at different winemakers' stores or little shops and do tasting there. And my favorite personally are reds. I like reds. From Provence, I like wines from Château Pesquier and the Gigondas area, Mormoiron area. Whites, I love whites from Alsace. Voilà. Yeah. Dus het Riesling et puis Gewürztraminer. Bon, you can never be disappointed with them. I like the mineral dry.
Yeah. Yes. So how are you?
And recently, I also discovered whites from Austria. Just such a good surprise. Good surprise. Yeah.
Yes. They're kind of you talk back and forth between Austria, and Alsace, and it's I think there could be a debate of who likes what more, but I think they're both very, very exceptional wines, and I'd be more than happy to have either of them in my glass. So you're now back. Well, not back. You now are in America, and you're living in Virginia.
Correct.
So is this the first time that you're living outside of France, or outside for? You said you went to Switzerland for a little while, but...
Yes, so right now I'm in Virginia, as you said. I'm continuing my education. I'm studying management, accounting, and business. And about different countries. So I've spent most of my life in France, also about 2 years in Helsinki, Finland, and Switzerland, where I used to work. And now Virginia. So that's diverse, and now I enjoy Virginia. I discover the American culture from the inside, which is a very precious experience, because America exports its culture all around the world through entertainment, but from the inside it's very different, and I like American people. They have such good hearts. So thank you for welcoming me in your country for that time.
Was it like culture shock? So we grew up. My husband and I grew up on the East Coast, the New York area. We're from New Jersey, so we grew up on the East Coast, and we spent 1 year in Tennessee, which is south, and it drove both of us crazy, because in New York, it's in, where we grew up, it's go, 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 go. This, and you go to Tennessee and you go out for dinner, and, they bring you the menu 40 minutes after you sit down. 5 hours later, you're like wailing to try to get the.
It's like France, like the south of France.
Oh, okay. All right, so maybe it's a little bit closer. But in New York, you can have almost a full out meal in an hour. They want you in and out. So it was a very big culture shock. And even moving to California, it's a different culture shock. We joke all the time that, we'll be at the curb and a car will stop for us to walk across the street, and we're like, oh, that wouldn't happen in Jersey, or that, so there's differences in how people act in their different regions. So, what do you have anything that, you're like, wow, that now that you're in Virginia, that people are, different?
Sure, of course. There's good wells. For instance, the nature is wonderful here. Virginia is warm but humid. So the vegetation is lush, verdant, and this year there's an incredible amount of butterflies. Butterflies and biodiversity, different birds. And what's interesting to me is that all that cohabitates. So there's a cohabitation between this biodiversity and a very urban landscape, cars, highways. That has been a culture shock for me. So many highways, big cars, 6 lanes highways, very different from the narrow streets in the Loire Valley. In the Loire Valley. So next time you go to Saumur and go and visit then go and do the wine tour, you'll see that you'll go through narrow roads.
Okay.
So yes, that has been a culture shock, and but still nature and very urbanized landscape at the same time.
And what about the wines you're finding in Virginia? Are you able to find home wines? Are you exploring out more of American wines?
We've been to winemakers last year. Still, I'm more exploring wines from California and organic wines. So, just recently, as I mentioned before, Austria, Brazil. I listened to your podcast about the Brazilian sparkling wines, and I really want to try that.
If you can find them, grab them, because for the price that you're paying, they're really, really exceptional for when.
I'd love to.
Yes. So the wines that you're experiencing now, like you said, you're finding the Austrian wines and Alsace wines. Did you have trouble getting them in France?
So when I'm in France, I'm very loyal to my region. So
right.
Just by Loire Valley, I'm being like a regionalist of wine. But here in the United States, it's different. I feel more open-minded, and I want to explore
everything.
I'm very interested in the New World wines. So I think you call that the New World.
Yes.
And I'm hungry for more. I love to discover more.
That's awesome, because we always say the best way to learn about wine is to fill another glass, right?
Yeah.
Fill another glass and learn more about wine.
Have another sip.
Right. Now, you had mentioned that your area was one of the first to go organic, and that was like early, like 80s. So that was way ahead of us, you know. Was it just one winemaker, one vineyard decided, you know, organic is good, and then it started to spread like, oh yeah, this is nice, this is good? Like, how did this trend start in your area?
So some of our listeners, and you probably have read the book by Kermit Lynch, so Adventures on the Wine Route. So in that book, Kermit Lynch goes through France and different winemaking regions in France, and he describes how the wine industry, winemakers were becoming more conventional, losing the tradition for the sake of production, of safety, of stability. And that has happened mainly in Bordeaux. Well, that's right. And now in Bordeaux, it's very strong, this type of production.
Right.
In the 80s and 90s, there was a movement of going back to tradition and mingling environmental values with also health concerns on wine consumptions and reducing the amount of pesticides and et comment on appelle ça, la permaculture? Do you use that word, permaculture, permaculture?
Biodynamics?
Mm-hmm. Biodynamics, permaculture.
You know, I don't, I think anything that's better for the earth is great. You know, I think that people in general take from what Mother Nature is giving, and at some point we need to give. You know, we need to start balance.
And it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy because the weather tests, they're not always a farmer's friend.
No,
so
not at all.
To find a good balance.
Right. Right. So I was impressed that they were starting it back in the 80s. I think that was ahead of the trend, big time. All right. So let's go back to the staircase, talking about the way you teach somebody how to speak French. So I had shared with you in the email that I used an app, and I thought it was good. It was cute, you know. There were little cartoon characters, little, you know, things, and I think that storytelling and things like that are the way to learn a lot easier. I say to this day that in high school I took 3 years of Spanish and graduated with nothing more than "Hola, ¿qué pasa? ¿Dónde está el baño?" You know, like that. I took 1 semester in college, and I was pretty darn fluent. And it was because my professor, we were never in the classroom. He would take us out and we would play soccer, and as the ball hit us in the head, he would say "la cabeza," you know, like he was teaching us by moving and by associating things. Where in high school, she was writing a word on a blackboard, basically, you know. So take us through the staircase. That how does the staircase teach somebody French?
Yeah. So the way you learned, just going back on this blackboard and learning in school and more or less conventional, this is good. Just spending time and learning at school is good, even if it's academic, because we need both. When learning, we need that exposure. There's this current in linguistics talking about comprehensive input. Comprehensive input, it means that you have to spend time reading or watching a movie and focusing, being really present when watching that movie. So all that you did matters. And I think it helped when you were then playing soccer with that more dynamic teacher. It helped absorb the words then in real life, in action, just because you heard of it already. And so going to the staircase, it combines stories with lots of dialogue and audio. So there's lots of listening activity and active writing activity based on translation. We also have cartoons that are made by Ben Toll. Okay, Ben, if you're hearing us, bonjour Ben. Look, Ben is he's an American cartoonist, and he started illustrating some of the courses for beginners. I think you tried the course Le Vignoble, which is a more advanced course.
Yes.
Wait, that one is more dry because it's a cours de perfectionnement. It's a more advanced course. And for the other, because we have courses for all levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and beginners will find cartoons. One of my values as a teacher and student is to be active, to learn actively. So it can be active writing, because we spend our days writing, either text messaging or posting on social media. Writing is not necessarily academic. It can be, just as I say, through social media. So in the staircase, there's this active writing, practicing the phrases that are learned, through translation, through activities with synonyms, also spaces for expressing oneself. In French, we say de l'écriture expressive, expressive writing.
Oh, okay.
So these are areas where you can use what you learned to introduce yourself and get some feedback by teachers on the website, etc. And as I mentioned, the teachers on the website, that's the other important part, is that a student can also take private tutoring in option. So some students will just take the courses, and some others will take the plan with courses and teachers. So that includes usually weekly lessons. That's the most popular plan. So there's one lesson every week. So it can be every Wednesday in the morning at the same time, or some students enjoy more flexibility. And during these lessons on Skype, it's active practice, it's conversation adapted to all levels. So even absolute beginners can practice their oral conversation through some activities like le jeu d'imitation. We could do it together. We could make a demonstration if you'd like. Would you like to do this jeu d'imitation?
Sure.
Okay, so are you ready for?
Oh
because they just
5
minutes of French.
You're gonna coach, yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I will use basic sentences for introducing myself, and you can mimic my sentences and adapt them for yourself.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, we'll try.
Okay, so when you're ready, say je suis prête.
Je suis prête.
Voilà. Donc, je m'appelle Léa.
Je m'appelle Laurie.
Je suis française.
Je suis américaine.
J'habite en Virginie.
No, I need that again.
Donc, j'habite en Virginie, aux USA. J'habite en Virginie.
I don't know where to go. I'm lost. Level 3, and then level 1, step 3, I'm lost.
No, c'est bon. Donc, when in English you say to live in a place, in French we say habiter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. J'habite en Virginie.
Okay. Oh, okay. You were saying Virginia. I got it.
C'est ça.
Je vis California.
Voilà. J'habite en Californie.
J'habite en California.
Très bien. Et puis, you may need some vocabulary for that. Donc, je suis professeur de français.
Je suis winemaker.
Bah oui, c'est moi comme on dit. Donc, a winemaker, it's a word that's repeated a lot in the course of the vignoble. Winemaker in French is vigneron.
Vigneron. I actually do that. I do that. Vigneron. So, one more. So, see, I forgot.
Je suis. Okay. Je suis professeur de français.
Okay. Je suis vigneron.
Okay. Voilà, you did it.
Thank you. I am horrible at languages. My brain does not, and the worst thing is...
Oh, c'était bien, that was pretty good.
The worst thing is that my brain goes back to Spanish. Like, when I was taking the French lessons, I kept inserting Spanish words into the French. I mean, luckily they were somewhat similar for a lot of things. But, yeah, I'm pretty bad in language. I don't know if that's right brain, left brain, or whatever, but...
I think that was pretty good. Because what you did was just mimicking. And mimicking is, it's a way that's intuitive. It's back from our instincts of language learning. There's this American linguist, Noam Chomsky, who defined the concept of language learning being hardwired in the brain, and this mimicking aspect that we just did together, that we can do in every language, and that staircase teachers do as well. So that's a way just to reveal the language in you. Voilà. Would you like to do it again? Just 1 minute?
Sure.
Reviewing.
Sure.
Okay. Donc, je suis française.
Je suis américaine.
J'habite en Virginie.
I can't say the second word. I got je.
Okay. J'habite en Virginie.
J'habite à California.
C'est ça. Et je suis professeur de français.
Je suis Avignon.
Vigneronne.
Vignon.
Vigneronne. 1, 2, 3.
Vigneronne. Vigneronne.
Voilà, c'est à peu près ça. You're close.
Vigneronne. I should have stuck with professor because I also teach. I should have stuck with the professor.
Bon, man.
So, professor d'adventure.
Professeur d'aventure. Oh, that's another topic. You teach.
I teach adventure ed. So I teach kids how to rock climb and zip line and do things like that. That's the job that pays for the winery.
Bon.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Yeah. All right. So I'm all right. I can get there. So you said that you have different levels. So I have to say I cracked up when I opened up the lesson because you came running up the stairs. I thought that was pretty clever, coming up the stairs. And the first thing I saw was you speaking in French and the words going underneath. And I like learning that way. That's one of the ways I like to learn. So when we go to a foreign country, I always sit and watch TV that's got the American...
Yeah, with subtitles.
Yes. Yes.
So it's the best way to learn. Because most of people are visual learners.
Right.
So yes, you should learn languages with looking at the subtitles. Yes.
So I love that. And then we went into the lesson, and it was about giving away a key. And, you were going through the pronouns. He gives the key, she gives the key, and then the sister...
Yes, correct. Yes. So what you're describing is Le Vignoble. So it's the course which is based on the winemaking family, on a family of winemakers. So the course that you went to, there's 30 chapters, and each chapter covers one specific aspect of the language. So the first one goes through all possible verb forms. So it's a way to review all French verb forms, mostly for people who already learned French a couple of years at school. And there's another chapter, chapter 7, which is called La Louve, which is about how to describe people in French. There's a chapter 14, La Météo, which is talking about the weather. There's chapter 23, which is about comparative, and especially it's a scene of comparing wines.
There you go.
And it takes place at a wine tasting competition. There's also some scenes about gardening, growing grapes.
Great. So if somebody was coming to the staircase and they've never taken French in their lives, right? So they're not going to start where I went in, they're going to go to your beginning level. And you had mentioned that beginning level, there's cartoons and things like that. So take us through, like, what if I signed up for the staircase and I go into that first lesson, like, how much time does your average student spend on each of those steps before they're confident to move on to the next step?
Yeah, so the beginner courses, one of them, the most popular, is Ma Première Leçon, my first lesson. So this one takes in average 5 to 6 hours to complete. And it's one with cartoons, with reading activities. It's I will even have children and teenagers using it. It's called Ma Première Leçon. Then there's another beginner's course called Premier Pas. And this one, Premier Pas, covers all the education, all the curriculum from A1 to B1. A1 and B1, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they're the ways defined by the CR, so that's the European Council for Language Education. So it's the beginner level. And then if you're an intermediate learner, you should choose the course Un Américain à Paris. And it's based on the story of John, who is an American, and he's a friend of the family of winemakers. And he's going to meet the main character, Lana. Her full name is Eleanor, so her short name, Lana. He's going to meet her in Paris, and their adventures in Paris are they're the layers, the pillars of the courses that cover most notions expected of intermediate level. And then the advanced learners, en cours de perfectionnement, they should choose Le Vignoble, which is a course in 30 chapters and which is much more deep. It goes into details. It goes into details, and the average time is 7 to 8 months to complete Le Vignoble. They're very rich courses in terms of content, a variety of vocabulary building, etc. So I hope you come and try it.
Yeah. So I also noticed that when I logged in that you have Quizlet cards to help people out, so that they can go in and, do Quizlet, and that you have a Facebook group also, right, where
yes, that's right.
the community can come together.
On Facebook, for the staircase, there's the Quizlet, which makes it easier to use on smartphone, tablets, because the staircase itself, the website, I recommend using it on a broad screen. It's much more comfortable. It helps focus. And our integration with Quizlet is more for flashcards, reviewing vocabulary, etc.
I thought it was great that you had a community so that people that are going through the same process can be together and talk to each other and ask questions. And I also saw that there were, when I was taking the lesson, that underneath people had made comments.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true.
And answer, people, sometimes you were answering them or another professor was answering them, or sometimes other classmates were answering them. So there seems to be a lot of support built into this program.
Oh yes, and that mattered to me when creating the staircase, because now there's lots of good apps and solutions online. But there's something that I think is missing. It's the human aspect of it. So I believe in machine learning, but more in human learning and in human intelligence. And so we have these discussion areas that are available for everybody. And then students who have more budget and who want to practice their speaking, they can also book lessons with teachers. So there's different plans to make it just the best learning experience for everybody.
So your plans, are they a monthly plan? Is it is there add-ons? Like, how does somebody, if they go to staircase.org to find you and they want to learn French, or you actually also have Spanish, okay?
Yes, correct.
How does somebody purchase, am I purchasing it, oh my God, I've got to learn French in this amount of time, or am I purchasing a lesson, and if it takes me 5 hours and it takes you 1 hour, it's kind of the same thing?
So you're correct. There's French and Spanish currently available, and 3 plans, 3 options. The first one is just subscribing. So for subscribing, you will get access to the course My First Lesson, which is pretty comprehensive for beginners, and you will also get seasonal courses. So we have courses for the 31st of October, also December 25th, which are seasonal, more festive courses, and usually with guests. For instance, for Halloween, we have American author, American novelist Corey Schramm, who writes une histoire qui s'appelle like a frightening story for Halloween, and the course is based on that. So that's what you get for just the subscription.
And that's a monthly. That's a monthly subscription.
It's free. It's just that's the first plan. It's the free subscription.
Oh wow! So somebody can take your first lesson for just signing up for free.
Yes, correct.
Oh wow!
And then the second plan, the entry price is $10, just a little less. It's $9 monthly, and for that, students get all courses and courses that are all year. Well, I mean throughout all the year. So that's Premier Pas, the full course for beginners, Un Américain à Paris, the full course for intermediate level, and Le Vignoble. And then the third plan is with a teacher. So it starts at $79 per month. So $79 per month. You get 30 minutes conversation every week with a tutor, and then depending on if you want more time per week, then there's higher plans depending on your budget and also availability.
Right. Wow, that to me sounds really, really cheap. I mean, to get a professor 30 minutes one-on-one once a week for $17 or $18 is, I mean.
No, 17.
So 70.
Yeah, yes, 70. Oh, that's my English pronunciation. 79.
Oh, so just under $80.
Yes, just under $80.
So
just under $80. That's the starting price for weekly lessons.
Okay, so $17.99 was blowing me out of the water, but $80 is still really cheap. That's $40 an hour to tutor. So that,
correct.
I think that's totally a well-justified price.
Yes, it's a good price. And also, we have good teachers, because so now private tutoring is a new trend, and there's lots of very good platforms. What makes the Staircase teachers different is that we select the most popular teachers all around the web, and all our teachers have a minimum of 2,000 hours of experience. And that's our entry criteria to become a Staircase teacher. So that way we guarantee a reliable tutor to practice, learn, or Spanish conversation with. And with the subscription plan, which is unique to the Staircase, this is what allows us to give a more competitive price with teachers of reputation.
Wow, I think that's impressive. I think that's, it's really $40 an hour, and you're getting all of the lessons plus somebody there to help you through them. I think that's great.
Sure, and we love what we do. Teaching is a passion. It is also a competitive field, and we want to just to offer the best for learners and to encourage learning, because language learning is good. It's good for business. It's good for understanding people who live in your community. It's good for peace, for good relationship building in our world. So we promote that, and I hope that it continues. And so thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Laurie. Merci beaucoup for giving me the time
absolutely
to share about it.
I love the idea, and the last one we're gonna talk about, I just want to bring it back to the winery and winemaking, and how, Elizabeth had mentioned that you had been teaching people who were going to spend like an internship or something like similar to that in France, and you were teaching them how to do that. So I just wanted to full circle that back to why you're on Dracaena Wines on Wine.
Mm-hmm.
Is if somebody is going to go to France and work in the wine industry, like I mentioned, when I went to Bordeaux, they all knew I was American. I was there for a week. They were speaking English. But I think if somebody is going to go to France and work in France, they're going to expect you to speak French. And that's where you come in. If these people are going to do their internships, like wine, people in the wine industry travel to different regions to learn different processes, they could come to you and get the basis so that they at least feel confident in presenting themselves to wineries.
Yeah, sure. For winemakers listening to us, or just wine lovers who plan to go to France, being able to say bonjour, comment allez-vous? Je viens des États-Unis. Being able to introduce oneself in French, to do greetings in French, it makes such a difference. It helps build a relationship of confidence, a good relationship with the people. There's this quote by Mandela that talks to somebody in their mother language, and you will talk to the language of their heart. Okay, Mandela said that better than me, but that's the idea.
Right. I think that if you attempt to speak the homeland's language, the home person's language, it automatically creates a different environment than expecting them to speak your language when you're in their country.
and that's what we work on with our students. So for beginners who are going to go to France, then they will practice greetings, good pronunciation, so pronouncing the essential phrases right. So to build that good communication, that good ground with French local people, and with more advanced learners, so intermediate and advanced learners, Le Vignoble it's a learning adventure. It's good for students who want to revive their French, or who feel that their French is a little rusty. And they can combine Le Vignoble with some conversation practice with teachers, and then when they come to France, whether for business or for just hobby, they will be more prepared and make the experience more enjoyable.
Right. Excellent. All right. So it's game time. Are you ready to play my little game of opposites?
Allons-y. Oui.
Oui. Okay. So we will start with non-wine related terms, and then we will kind of slowly get into wine related terms. All right.
Oh la la.
Okay. And remember, there are no wrong answers. All right. It's whatever pops in your head first. Okay. All right. Here we go. Night or day?
Night or?
Night or day?
Dusk.
Dusk. Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, so how do you say night in French?
Nuit.
Nuit?
Nuit. La nuit.
La nuit. Okay. And day?
Le jour, comme bonjour.
Le jour. Oh, bonjour. Right. Okay. Sunset or sunrise?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. And how do you say sunrise? I'm gonna put you to work here.
On dit lever de soleil. Lever de soleil.
Lever de soleil. Okay. Black or white?
White.
How do you say it in French? Blanc.
Blanc.
Blanc. I got it.
They both go together. They're like yin and yang.
Yes. Yeah.
I think also black grapes make red wine. Les raisins noirs. In French, do you say black grapes?
Well, we say white. We would say a white grape versus a red grape, which is actually.
D'accord. En français, on dit les raisins noirs. Les raisins noirs, black grapes that make red wine. Donc,
both. Walk or run?
Plutôt, ça dépend. Walk.
Walk.
It's better to just enjoy what's around, to see what's around.
Okay. Food or drink?
Both. They go together.
Okay. So drink is bebe?
That's it. Boire.
What? Oh, I wasn't even.
In Spanish. Oui, in Spanish. You're right. C'est beber.
Okay. So how do you say it in French?
En français, c'est boire.
Boire?
Boire.
Boire. Okay. Old world or new world?
It's like black and white. They go together.
Okay.
I love that we keep the best from old days and just leave some freedom so that the new can raise from ashes. You know, the phoenix.
Oh, the phoenix. Okay. Okay. Sweet wine or dry wine?
Dry.
Okay. Bubbles or still?
Still.
Oak or stainless?
Oak or stainless, like the metal?
Oak barrel or stainless steel? So, you know, oak influence.
Being sentimental, oak.
Oak. Drink now or drink later?
Drink now.
Do you like blends or single varietals?
My palate likes blends, and when exploring for tasting, I like single varietals just to get to know better.
Yeah. To know what that varietal is supposed to taste like.
Yes.
Okay. Vintage or non-vintage?
Vintage.
Cork or screw cap?
Cork. That's just like oak.
Okay. Napa or Sonoma?
Can you respond for me?
Yeah, so, yeah, that's a tough one for you. That would be like, what would that be like? I guess like Bordeaux or Loire. So
then Sonoma.
Okay. Commercial yeast or indigenous yeast?
Indigenous.
Bordeaux or Rhone?
Rhone. Oh, yeah.
In warm climate or cool climate?
Cool.
Cool climate. All right. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you,
Laurie. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Merci beaucoup.
Thanks. Oui, merci à notre audience. Merci.
I've got this much, but you know what? I am going to go to the staircase and I am going to start going over that beginner course again so that I can become more confident in it. Because
oui, bien sûr. Oui. You should start ma première leçon au premier pas, and also with a tutor. It's good for help with pronunciation, and it's so much warm, and it's such a human connection.
Yes, because I'm sure I will mispronounce things left and right. If you listen, right, I make fun of myself on all of the podcasts that I can't pronounce things correctly. and that's after I research how to say it. I still can't say them correctly.
That's part of learning, part of the learning process.
Yes. So thank you very much, Leah, for joining me. It was awesome, and I love being able to share, your story and helping people hopefully learn French, so that we all always want to go to France. That's all us Americans talk about. Wine lovers talk about is going to France. So I think that using the staircase, is a nice way to go and be a little bit more part of the culture versus just intruding on the culture.
Yeah, sure. And so for anybody, come to France. France is the great time to come and visit. And if you would like just some tips, I'll be very happy to give you some just secret places to know, secret villages to go and visit and enjoy your stay in France at best.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, anybody who's interested, it's thestaircase.org, which is where you can go to find Leah and to learn French.
Et voilà.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laurie. Happy afternoon.
Tuesday, yes. Happy Tuesday. Bye.